Have you ever wondered which church is the true church that Christ established in 33 AD? Let's look at the Bible, ancient documents, and history, and show you why I believe that it is the Orthodox Church. Christ said in Matthew 16:18, "I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it." Notice how Christ says church, not churches, alluding to the one church, one body. Then the apostles established local communities. Acts chapter 2 describes this. It describes the first church gathering, the fact that it was centered on the apostles' teaching, the breaking of bread, and also prayers and hymns. That model of scripture, sacraments, and apostolic leadership is exactly how the Orthodox Church operates today. Now let's look at the historical record. If you look at the historical records, let's say from Ignatius of Antioch, roughly around 107 AD, he said, "Where the bishop is, there is the church." That is apostolic succession. Bishops that are directly ordained by the apostles, and so on and so forth. The Orthodox can trace their line back all the way to the apostles in an unbroken chain, without interruption. That is a straight historical line. No break, no reinvention. Now let's look at the undivided church. For the first 1,000 years, it was one church. The unified conciliar church of the apostles that Christ established. This was the church that gave us the Nicene Creed, the same creed that Orthodox Christians still confess today. Orthodoxy has preserved the same faith, sacraments, and liturgy that the earliest Christians practiced. Nothing added, nothing taken away. Now let's look at continuity and witness. Even today, the liturgy of St. John Chrysostom, written in the 4th century, is still prayed almost word for word by Orthodox Christians. That is continuity that you can see and experience. From Jerusalem to Constantinople to Antioch, the same faith has been handed down for 2,000 years. So when I say that I believe that Orthodox Christianity is the one true church that Christ established, it's because I can see the evidence that it's the same church of the Bible, the same church that the apostles celebrated the Eucharist, that they recharged their spirits to go tell others about Christ, the one that they had seen rise from the dead, the one Christ that they had seen ascend into heaven, who said that he would come back again. It is the same church of the fathers, the monastic fathers, that pray unceasingly, as Paul stated in the New Testament. The Orthodox Church produces saints, men, women, even children, who have performed miracles, who pray unceasingly. The ones that you can see the evidence of Christ in their life. Now that's not saying that others can't achieve that if you're not in the Orthodox Church. I'm not saying that at all. But as the old saying goes, the proof is in the pudding. Because though God is not bound by denominational lines, it does not mean that the church that he established went a bunch of different ways. There was churches that was spread out, that you could go to each one of those churches and you could still hear the same message preached. You go to an Orthodox church, which I attended for the first time, and I saw the church of the fathers, the church of the apostles, the church of Christ. People will look at some of the things that they do and think that it's idol worship, or think that it's wrong, because show me where it says that in the Bible. Show me where a verse was said. Show me where there was scripture. But there's scripture throughout the entire liturgy. There's verses. There's prayers. There's hymns. The chanting. The incense. The movements of the priest's hands. Everything is orchestrated because of the fact that it was the church that Christ established. Everything is symbolic of something. And that is why I believe that the Orthodox Church is the true church, because of the evidence. Now, obviously, I said in my previous video that it was my first time attending liturgy. But I can see the evidence of God in this church. I can see the evidence of this being where He wants me to raise my children. This is the church of the apostles and the church fathers, alive and unbroken. And they always say, come and see. And I did. And I believe.